I think it was a desperate fear not to fail and to continue to feed my family initially.
First year with us, 81 million lodged, 53 million approved, 41 million settled, which is crazy.
I think I came to you and I said, mate, I reckon I've found this is what I'm meant to do. Real estate, where it's the highest paid hardworking job or it's the lowest paid low-working job.
Second year now going into it, year to date, 111 million lodged, 63 million approved, and then 54 million settled. And everyone goes through different times and challenges.
Welcome to Loans Made Simple podcast. Real stories, real people, real conversations. I'm Youeil Shol, and in this podcast, we sit down with our brokers, team members, and industry experts to talk about all things property, finance, and lending. From first home buyers to investors and business owners, we're here to make finance simple, practical, and just easy to understand. Let's get into it.
Welcome everyone. We have Cameron Clarke here today, which we're super excited about. Cameron's been with us for about, I think, nearly 2 years now, doing amazing things, in my opinion, especially first year out as well. No industry experience at the same time. First year with us, 81 million lodged, 53 million approved, 41 million settled, which is crazy. Second year now going into it, year to date, 111 million lodged, 63 million approved, and then 54 million settled. I don't know. I know you don't think those numbers are good, but that's pretty cool, man. But Cameron, introduce us, mate. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, I'm quite excited and I think flattered comes to mind when I hear those numbers and thanks for having me along today. It's really nice.
So tell us about your background, because you have I'll let you say it, but you have a bit of an interesting story in terms of how we met, how you came into it as well. I remember our first coffee catch up at Coffee Club. Yeah.
My background goes right back to when I was a child, splitting blocks and bringing post walls on the back of trucks and doing renovations and splits and all those types of small developments.
Yeah.
So I think I've always had an interest, or even just through osmosis, was in property. But I started out my career in a completely different way prior to broking.
Yeah.
Have a degree in science and business.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So I'm a scientist at heart.
Wow.
And I think that's where I kind of love to experiment with things and get it right or wrong and then adapt from there.
Yeah.
But then was working in a gym at the Grange. Loved it. Met some awesome people. It's one of my favorite areas in Brisbane. And through that work in the Grange, working in the gym, I had a client of mine essentially tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you should be doing a lot more than working in a gym and selling gym memberships. You need to step up your game.
Super important as well, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we can tackle that in a minute. Yeah. Mental health and fitness is a massive one.
Yeah.
So then I did about 10 years in real estate.
Yeah.
Because I met some really cool people in the real estate arena and went from being an associate for 2 years and then went and worked in quite an affluent area in Brisbane, in Wilston, and worked with some really great people in real estate and loved that and developed, I think, personally and professionally quite a lot with some really good mentors.
You have to be almost, you're selling people's biggest assets.
Right? Selling people's biggest asset. But in the real estate world, I guess similar to broking, you are completely autonomous with how successful you are.
Yeah.
You're not
choose
on
your
a salary.
hours.
You choose your hours. You choose how much or how little you work. And there's this rhetoric in real estate where it's the highest paid hardworking job or it's the lowest paid low-working job. And so I think over time you develop those skills to track and manage and look at your business. And then if you're not happy with it, you go harder.
So then what made you want to enter broking?
So real estate for me, I'd ticked off a few goals and I was working at a level where it was, say, top 20% of that company I was with.
Yeah.
So I'd achieved some success there. But then I think there was a big part of me that real estate agents, Australians don't like real estate agents.
Yeah.
In fact, they hate real estate agents.
Yeah, correct.
And there's some characters in that field that probably warrant that reaction from most people.
Yeah.
And I had this craving to be in the panel of trusted advisors for a client. And I felt like I ran my real estate business like that, but could not break through that
It's
persona.
disappointing because it's the majority that then ruins it for the people who are trying to do it well and be that
Completely
trusted
agree.
advisor.
Yeah, completely agree. And that craving to be a trusted advisor and not being a good enough reader to go back and study law meant that I need to pivot with my property knowledge. And then I bought my first house, and at the time just asked a few questions of my broker. And then 4 years later, I actually thought, hey, you know what? This is actually something I want to look at. And at the time, you started dating one of my best friends at the office at the time, and we met, and rest is history.
And it's funny, you transitioning from real estate, we always have chats where how much more do you think now, obviously brokers do, right? Because remember when we used to send me referrals, like there's so many things going in the background, but then I would kind of keep it as if everything's all good, but it wasn't all good, right? So do you feel like now coming into broking, it's just been a big shock? Was it hard coming into it, like knowing how much we actually did, and even the hours? Because I remember us having a chat and you said and I remember saying to you, broking almost forces you to work hard, because in real estate, if you don't have listings, you don't have listings, but broking, even if you have a couple of deals, you still need to do those emails, approvals, keep it from appointment to settlement. Yeah. So do you feel, was it a shock? Were you prepared for it as coming into broking?
Yeah, I think there were definitely things I was prepared for, without a doubt. And then there were other things where my brain would ache for days. And there was a level of learning and a level of like a completely different avenue, especially around the tactical policy awareness with banks and the small like minutiae of different things that can go wrong. And if you don't pick it up quick enough, the whole deal can fall over.
Yeah.
And I think brokers have to work both in the objective and subjective, where real estate, they almost only play in the subjective. Like, can you massage a deal together based on how this person feels about the value of the property?
Yeah.
But in broking, you need to have the ability to make that person believe that you're their guy and also objectively make the numbers work.
Yeah.
And mixing those two.
75% of loans written through brokers as well.
Yeah. So it's and that's right, 75% right. So you're no longer competing against the banks. You're competing against other brokers.
Yeah.
And I think there's a level of, that you have to have EQ, like you have to have emotional intelligence as well. So you have to understand what the client goes through, if nothing else, just to keep those clients your clients and not wanting to go somewhere else.
So talking about, when you start as a broker, right, you have your hurdles, but through those hurdles as well, were there things like that you specifically focus on to drive your success? Because I know in our office, we're a bit insulated because everyone is doing really good numbers and there are still higher numbers to chase, but are there small wins that were driving you, even learnings that were driving you? Was it just that hunger of the trusted advisor?
I think it was a desperate fear not to fail and to continue to feed my family initially.
Yeah.
And then I think it was maybe 6 months in, I think I came to you and I said, mate, I reckon I've found this is what I'm meant to do.
Man.
Because it went from
calling, you called it.
Yeah, calling. That's right. I called it my calling. And it sounded so cheesy and so cringe at the time, but I thought, it's kind of in my mind. And I'd been fighting tooth and nail to be successful as an agent, and then found this. And when the penny really dropped was when in that first 6 months I had as many Google reviews in those 6 months than I'd had in 10 years in real estate.
Yeah.
And it's not because I wasn't doing things in real estate that warranted a review. I think it's that going back to the things where people think, look, I want to buy the property and the real estate agent's almost in the way. Whereas here, you physically help and aid the client do what they need to do.
That gets them the property.
You're the guy. Yeah. So that's been eye-opening for me, and I think I ran with that.
Yeah.
And in a way, it became a bit of an addiction to see how good of an outcome I could get that other brokers may not have thought of for the clients.
Agreed. And then, so at what point do you feel it scaled for you? Because I reckon your numbers are very quick, in my opinion, in terms of where you've got, and everyone goes through different times and challenges in terms of when their numbers start to grow. But at what point was it the 3, 6, 9, 12 month mark where you felt like, hey, this is really turning around? when you have to look at clients, meet your referral partners, open homes as well that you do a lot of.
Yeah.
What point did it really turn for you?
I think there were two main turning points for me.
Mm.
I think I'd say the first 6 months as well was purely learning how to not talk like an agent and not be an agent anymore.
Commit your breath.
Yeah. So not being so desperate with things. The knowledge in real estate, highly applicable to being a broker as well. You understand the deals and the terminology and just at a basic level contracts, like base level contract law. And you understand the journey that the client goes through. I think once I'd got around how to put together a loan and things like that, my strength then came back with being able to make referral partners comfortable with giving me their clients, because I know that they're putting their business on the line as well, because I had one of those businesses 6 months ago, prior to where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I gained that initial understanding and started to really love the fact that I could help and get great outcomes. And then the second one was where I actually never thought of myself as a business owner, and I now consider myself one because I have employed a credit analyst.
Yeah.
And that's a major turning point for me as well.
Yeah. The stories. And I feel credit to you, because I think sometimes when you are in sales, right, your alarm bells are constantly up. You're fully attentive to everything. So when you were coming on board and going through your journey, and we had a first ever deal you lost when you came on, I just said, you need to trust the process. Like, it's going to work. You need to lose some deals as well, even with the credit analyst as well. Like, you have to trust the process because it's blind faith, right? So do you feel like there was moments there where you're like, man, I just need to just jump in? Or were you always hesitant? Like, how do you because you're very analytical as well. How do you kind of play that?
I think for me, the control comes from not wanting to fail. And then I also don't want to be someone where, you hire a credit analyst and they're learning. You need to encourage and build up their confidence. Otherwise they'll continually be in that learning phase. And I think I identified that I was in a learning phase, and now I'm having to nurture someone else in a learning phase. But the biggest resilience that came from that is learning that, things do go wrong.
Yeah.
And
it's okay for them to make mistakes and for you to make mistakes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think it's a testament of character, not how many mistakes you make. Obviously, you don't want to make them all the time.
Yeah.
How you react, how you communicate. If something goes wrong and you just keep someone up to date with not only what's happened, but how you're going to fix it.
Yeah.
That's I think something that's lost in business a bit these days.
Do you find that difficult? Because I know sometimes in real estate, it is, get an associate, the associate doesn't work out, get another one, get an associate, the associate doesn't work out, get another one. So when we're talking with the credit analysts, like, where you need to almost give them like 6-9 months, and they're going to do the work, but you can't expect them to work out. So was it hard getting out of that mindset?
Yeah. That's probably been one of the hardest things in my entire journey so far. Yeah. And it's also thresholds with it too, because you finally go, oh, awesome, I've made some money this month. And then now you're incurring wages. And I think I've spoken to other business owners in all types of walks. I'm also in a business networking group and talk to, lawyers and all types of fields. And they all say, just stick with it. Talking to you, you say, mate, you have to invest in the business. Yeah. And I think I just follow that with blind faith in the initial stages of it.
But at least you can see, even with those owners and within it, like, it does work. It's just more like you can't see it now, but you're trusting that person has done it.
I would say I am seeing it now.
Yeah.
I would say 2 months into it was the most pain point.
Yeah.
Now, and credit to my credit analyst. Her name's Taylor.
Yeah.
She's a weapon.
Yeah.
And her biggest
shout out to Taylor.
Yeah, shout out to Taylor. You're awesome. I hope you're listening. So she is a younger girl, but the work ethic through the roof. And I think it's quite rare to have work ethic like this of that age group. So when you find that, I think you hold on to that and nurture it. So and like what you said, it's about the person, not the background
not the background.
Yeah,
correct.
for sure.
So obviously you have a beautiful wife, Jess, Anna, as well as his daughter. So when especially changing to another industry, right, which is daunting, I think, in itself. How did you manage, between family and business as well? Because you have to put all this time as when you start as a career, like is it conversations at home, and I know Jess super supportive because it ain't easy what you have to go through as a broker, especially when you start out.
Yeah. I think anyone else that has a wife who's a nurse will know that they're this magical balance of soft and hard. So
you don't need that Panadol.
That's right. Yeah. They'll be there, stroking your hair when you're sick, but they're also the one giving you the injection because they know you need it. And I think Jess has this ability to, be nurturing when I need it, and then also give me the kick in the ass if I've gone too far. And usually the kick in the ass is, hey, like you've worked until 1 a.m. the last 4 nights. You need to look after yourself. You need to manage what you're doing. But I think ultimately there's never a question about the support there. I actually don't think you can be successful in a business where you have to bring in all the revenue if you don't have the support at home.
I agree, man. I say we spoke about it as well at the start, but anyone coming in that you need to have a chat with the other half. And if they support you and love you, you'll just get through the worst parts of it, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. But Anna, because I remember you saying to me, and it's no like, I'm not saying real estate agent, my wife's a real estate agent, right? So I love real estate agents, but remember you saying with Anna that, being as part of a broker, you love now going to the community events because people are so keen to talk to you about it. It's not about, what's the market doing. They're actually listening to what you're doing. They're not hating you because they don't like real estate agents. So how's that impact been?
It's been like night and day. I'm actually quite excited to say that I've made friends at Anna's school, and we've gone for Dad's beer. Yeah, because I'm in there talking about what I do with a level of pride, whereas there was almost a level of like tensing for the reaction from someone else when you tell them you're an agent.
Yeah.
And that was my reaction. I'm sure there's agents out there that don't think about it at all, but now being a broker, I'm enjoying being able to have pride and not have any hesitation to tell people what I do.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome. Yeah.
So client cases, obviously, I think when you're running quickly as well, right, and you're not you haven't been in the industry in terms of the banking background, you're trying to figure things out as they go. But I'm sure you have client cases where there's a high complex strategy that you've had to put together. Like, do you have one of those you want to share?
There's probably, I think about the biggest deal I ever did still
First 6 months as well.
First 6 months. Yeah. I think the initial deal was the clients were purchasing a property for 2.2.
Yeah.
And it was sent to us by a referral partner.
It was under contract already.
It was under contract already. They had gone through the motions with their existing broker that they had a relationship with, and they were just looking for a second opinion because they'd been told it wasn't possible.
What was the deal size?
The deal size total was they were purchasing for 2.2, but they had 3 other properties, I think, for a total loan value of 6.9.
Yeah.
So it grew like quickly within the space of a half an hour conversation.
Yeah.
What had become really apparent was the limitations was because the previous broker had cross-securitized the properties, whereas by ordering new valuations across the 3 or 4 different properties and then going with a lender individually releasing equity on each property, we were then able to structure the deal to not only allow them to purchase, but then also secure them a better deal overall.
Yeah.
So it meant they were able to buy that property.
Yeah.
Chatting with them since then, like they've actually gone on to sell that home 10 months later. But the gain that they made on that property, they bought for 2.2 and sold it for 257.
Wow.
So those clients had a massive uplift in the 10 months and have gone on to make that gain because we were able to help them secure the property.
And cross-securitization and standalone, right? Like, I don't know. My opinion's always been like, yes, it's easier to cross because it's one application, right? But do you really want to come up against another broker like us where we will straight away standalone it because it is less risk, right, for the client? And makes you less sticky maybe to the bank. But I don't know your opinion on it with cross versus stand. I always think like it's just one more application, right?
I also think it ultimately comes down to what the client wants. loans. If they said they just wanted one loan in and out, one repayment, okay, we would give them advice that might not be the best way for them. But if they then choose that, then that's their way to go. Like I wholeheartedly believe we're here to provide all options, and then the client chooses what's best for them. I'm not here to dictate to someone how it should be done.
Yeah.
But I know for sure that, you know, when they come and talk to us, they'll have absolutely everything exhausted before we would say you can't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So when we're talking this market where prices keep going up, right? In terms of borrowing capacity, like, are there little things that you do with clients to try to protect that at the same time? You know, little strategies that you give them tips on.
I'm still amazed at how many brokers have spoken to, especially the first home buyer category, where they've just had a phone conversation and asked them, how much do you earn? Do you have any credit cards? You can borrow this. And they've not dug into it at all. I mean, there's some simple policies that you can use, such as, why don't you ask the client if they plan on taking their current housemate with them to the next property, and then you can use boarding income. There are 2 or 3 lenders that will give you extra borrowing capacity if your HEX debt is under $20,000. So I think digging even just, you know, 1 or 2 steps deeper, really opens up opportunities for clients, and it's shocking that some people don't do it.
I think that comes down to the old analogy that we have. Like, if it's an 18-year-old that works at Pizza, still meet with them. Like, just don't do it over the phone, because over the phone you can't really ask the right questions because you're trying to sometimes get it out quickly. But catching up with them, giving them 30 minutes as well, which will be the difference sometimes between them buying now and maybe 3, 6, 12 months later.
Yeah. I'm also a big fan of not discounting a client because the overall loan size is small. I just think my main goal in business is to be spoken about at the barbecue in a positive way.
Yeah.
I had a single mum client recently, and I got the feeling that other brokers didn't want to write the loan because it was so small. And I just thought, look, my family's a single mum family. I want to help her to get onto the next chapter, and at least, you know, I might have a raving fan at the end of it. I didn't do the deal because I wanted a raving fan, but having done it now, I happen to have got one, and she's gone on to refer me at least 2 other clients. So I just think you never know where your like tribe of people is going to come from. Yeah. And then ultimately, like, business is better when you start to do business with people that are your people and they know and like and trust you.
It's amazing what you say, like, when that deal, because you come from a single, you know, family household, right? Like, I feel like sometimes you become numb to approvals, but the ones that where you've come from really hit home. Like, I love when I do like a single mum, and then there's, you know, DVA one as well that I've had recently. Whereas other ones, you know, they are just get it approved onto the next one because it's not emotional attachment. So do you find those are the particular deals like that give you the most joy, or?
Absolutely. I also have a real soft spot for like self-employed people. I feel like if you're going to go out there and give it a red hot crack and back yourself in business, I'm going to do absolutely everything in my power to help you achieve not only your business goals, but your, you know, wealth goals too. So I don't know. I have this kind of unspoken mission in my business where I want to help people grow generational wealth. And I think if we can do
that's
that,
achievable.
it is. Yeah. And I think that's a really enjoyable part of meeting with people is having them have that light bulb moment where they go, oh, wow, it's actually possible. Yeah. I just need to do this and this over the next 12, 24 months and have different structure in place and we can make it happen.
So then when people have bought their first home, or their, you know, a parent has upsized to, you know, their dream home, and then looking to investment purchases, right? Like, where do you find like people fail when they go and try to buy an investment property?
I think they look at repayments too closely, or they think about it in a way that is, you know, what their mum and dad has told them back from the 90s and early 2000s. So
I wasn't even born then.
Yeah.
96.
I was born. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest mistakes is not considering your investments as a tax deduction.
Yeah.
Especially while clients hold
Yeah.
an owner-occupied debt.
Yeah.
We try to help them pay down that owner-occupied debt as fast as possible.
Yeah.
While maintaining the tax deductions of an investment.
Mm.
So interest-only lending can limit your borrowing capacity slightly.
Yeah.
But the overall growth
Mm.
projection of doing it that way can help people get to the second, third, fourth property because the first one's paid down a lot quicker.
So then do you think, I feel like when we speak to clients, right, like bank versus broker, even sometimes broker versus broker, in my opinion, like if they come to us, I feel like banks can't compete. So do you kind of have a thought process when you're coming up with against a bank or a broker in terms of what you would do differently in that meeting, especially if it's an investor client?
I don't often think about competing with banks.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but maybe it's just that I'm not competing with banks.
Or maybe because the share of brokers has gone up now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think my focus at the moment is to educate myself to a level where I know I'm giving clients the best possible structures and have an in-depth policy knowledge so that they know that when we've assessed their scenario, that is the best option for them. So I think we're all actively learning to do that.
Yeah.
And we have some structures in the business now where it gets to the end of the meeting and they say to us quite openly, they say, we didn't even know that was possible. In fact, sometimes they go, is that proper tax law? Or like, can you actually do that?
Not tax advice, disclaimer.
Yeah. But then the structure just helps them, do exactly that, grow portfolios or acquire another property or even just get to the first investment property. So
and I feel like that. I feel like the day of, like I was saying it before, the day of just writing a loan is done. But I feel like we have to get so good at being able to deliver in the initial meeting. Otherwise, you're just going to get to a point where if you're competing with a Cameron or Youeil or whoever's in the business, that you can't compete because in the initial 30, 45 minutes, we can paint out a picture that says to you what's going to happen in the next 3, 6, 12, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, without giving the advice, but then referring them to the right people after they've met us. It's the only really free place where you can get free advice. Like if you speak to a planner, you have to pay for a statement of advice, a lawyer, you have to pay for their time. But don't you feel like people come to us just because they get so much free information?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we have to disclaimer all over the place because we get hit with the planning and the tax and all those questions. I mean, anecdotally, you know what to do and you have to speak in general terms, but at least you can identify if someone needs to go and talk to the right person or not, and you can have a plan in place. And I take great pride in building a plan, and accountants make mud maps for, trusts and companies and all of that. We make mud maps on whiteboard sessions with our clients. And in some cases, we've had clients take our lending structure mud maps to financial planners and they've said to us, that's a great idea. And they've come back and they've gone, yeah, do that.
Yeah, it's biggest compliment.
Yeah, massive compliment.
That's a great idea. You're like, oh, yes, I should be a planner. So I want to talk about like brokers starting out, right? I probably have 2 questions here. First, what advice you would give to brokers starting out, especially when it's a completely new career and maybe they're thinking, will my skills transition to brokering? And then secondly, what you believe separates, good, bad, great brokers from each other.
Okay. I guess the first part of it, like advice to brokers starting out, I think really, really critically, it's how are you going to grow business and how are you going to get clients coming in? It's a critical part of any type of sales business. And I think as a broker, you are a salesman, you sell yourself. Yeah. You have no other way of differentiating yourself than your knowledge and the way you handle your clients and then your processes within your business. But that explanation of what you do or how you do it won't help you get clients. Yeah. So I think new brokers coming into the business, they need to establish a point of difference or in like have their referral partners trust them that they will grow from it as they're helping you give clients. So
adding value.
Yeah. So I guess my unfair advantage was I was a real estate agent. So lots of my referral partners now are real estate agents or other trades and professionals in that industry. Yeah. So I understand what it takes for them to sell another property or for a conveyancer to hold on to a client. So I think about ways of providing information and staying
That will help their businesses.
that'll help their businesses as well. So I think I tackle my lead generation in my business from thinking about reciprocity. So if you provide value to other people, then the thought process is they'll give it back to you. And I just think you don't go into it with your hand out. You just go into it with your hands in your pockets and tell them how you can help them.
Yeah.
And then it does come back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what separation from bad, good, and great brokers? Like, are there little traits there?
Yeah. I think the separation for me with good, bad, and great is, I have to say, emotional intelligence. I actually think you can have all the credit knowledge in a room, but if you
can't read the room.
If you can't read the room, there's no point actually being in there. So, and then the client will think, oh, like, he doesn't really get me. So I think great consultants and great professionals, they know their shit.
Yeah.
But they also know what the client wants and can understand from their shoes looking back at the situation.
All the other skills, all the knowledge and stuff comes with time, right?
Absolutely.
I always think, like, when you deal with, if I deal with a tradie and I hear him swear, I'll swear. If I deal with like an architect and he just wants to know the numbers, I'm just like, I just need to show them the numbers. But reading the room, really.
Absolutely. If you've ever done disc profiling, there's a heap of different things now where disc profiling is, birds or colors or whatever.
Is it
you can probably disc profile me by my description of that just there. But I think having a base level understanding of that is what you're saying, and I agree with. Is you need to understand your client's perspective and communicate to them how they hear it, not how you want to communicate it.
Yeah,
I think the great people do that really well.
Yeah. So rapid fire questions. I have 3. Sometimes it's not rapid fire and I ask another question.
Cool.
But non-negotiables in your business.
I have 2 really clear ones that are about speed back to clients. So I want to have
speed's currency
in our game. Yeah, I remember a story. This was early on for me. I was dealing with a client and had him pre-approved. He texted me that night and I missed the text. By the next morning, he was talking to another broker. 10 hours later.
Yeah.
Massive lesson for me for how critical speed is in this industry. And I think these next two, these 2 KPIs are exactly thinking about that. So once we have a lead sent to us from a referral partner, my goal in business is to call that person within 15 minutes. And if I'm in a meeting and I've seen the text, I'll send it to Taylor.
Yeah.
I'll have someone say, Cam will call you at 1 o'clock.
So they know.
They know. It's like they want that instant connection to know we're on to them and we've got their back.
Yeah.
And then once a client has their documents to us, we want application to the bank within 48 hours.
Yeah.
For complex deals, even shorter if it's something simple.
And do you find like having the support then helps in that sense? Like
when you're operating at the volumes that we do, then So,
Taylor support team,
settlement officers, yourself and some of the like Sonny and Kaz as well. So having the support team there, I mean, through clients at any part of the process, being initial stages or pre-approved or running into settlement, we can be dealing with 60 or 70 people at a time.
I know.
So I don't want the level of service to drop. So we do separate the work, but the timing of the KPIs is critical.
What do you find is one of the bigger financial mistakes you see people make when they're buying a property or it could be anything really?
Yep. I think some of the biggest financial mistakes I've seen are number one is exiting the property market and renting for 6, 12, 24 months.
Yeah.
I've seen horrific outcomes from people choosing to be out of the market and maybe living above their means in a rental property that's
15, $2,000 a week.
Yeah, 1,500, $2,000 a week. It really, really eats into their long-term ability to get back into the market.
Yeah.
And I find that they can rent a property that provides them a lifestyle and I dare to say stature that they want to have. But then when they want to try and re-enter the market, they find it really difficult. And then it's the little things that I think aren't discussed enough. Even, back when we all got our first, combat credit card in the mail from being a Dolomites kid.
Yeah.
If you miss a payment on a credit card, or if you default on a payment or a phone plan or something, they're on your file for years. And to correct that can cost a lot of money with credit correcting services and things like that. So just having good, tidy bank accounts, goes a long way to having a great credit score and being able to lend
I think
money.
people underestimate the credit report part, because I remember even when I first started broking back in 2019, 2020, didn't have a credit file, right? Went and applied for ANZ, and I still remember ANZ $2,000 month, kept hitting apply. And all of a sudden, when I went and bought a home, it's like 4 credit inquiries from there. So people underestimate like little things, even just applying. It's on your credit report. And then if you keep on doing that, and you only find out at the last minute, right, when you then go see a broker to purchase a home.
That's right. And it comes up, unexpectedly on a report, and you have to then ask the client what's gone on. And yeah.
So if you have a piece of advice for people wanting to build long-term wealth, create portfolios, what would that be, if there's a few?
It's actually had to change over the last few years. I was a believer in house and land was the only way to grow wealth. And for the last 20 years in Brisbane, because of how I saw it being built growing up.
Yeah.
And apartments and townhouses in Brisbane have really trailed behind. But then you get to 2022 and apartments that were 300 or 400 selling local to us in Chermside are now 800. So I think now a vehicle for growing wealth is property.
Yeah.
But a vehicle for growing wealth is just doing the little things to build your offset account over time. Or I hate to say it's super simple, but spend less than what you earn.
Yeah. I will say, and you learn it's like cyclical, right? If I had it again, would not have bought those 2 ones at Wavell, would have just gone to Slacks Creek or Woodridge, just cleaned up. But you don't know that until you go through those markets. So I feel like hearing the advice of other people as well that have been through it, and not thinking that you know it all. Yeah.
The other thing I would recommend is if you are going to buy a renovator, having a discussion with an agent that knows what they're talking about, or a some trades, to get a good understanding as to what it'll cost you to do the work. But then
the time as well.
But do the work that will have the biggest dollar productive uplift in property values. So, landscaping and a second bathroom and second car accommodation has massive uplift in property values. Better than a pool. So you want to stick to the uplift in properties that are not polarizing, that have universal uplift and appeal to clients. So
I should take on that advice. Thank you, Cameron. Really appreciate it, man. Coming along. I know you're super busy. For everyone, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thanks for listening to Loans Made Simple. Make sure to follow, share, and connect with us for more conversations around people, property, and finance. See you in the next episode.